All praises and glory goes to our mighty power, Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahushai. Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, upgrade millstone, and salutations unto the elect and feeding the sheep of Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahushai, and sincerity and truth of this great gospel coming out of our Bible. Coming out of our Bible, man. And today we're going to analyze Esau's system that he has set up. Right? Esau's system that he has set up, right? His globalist stranglehold over what the nations of the earth, right? Through his finances, through his religion, and through his military, right? The scriptures say what? This is the book of Revelation 16, and we're going to start at 13. It reads, "And I saw three unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophets. For they are what the spirits of devils, working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth, and of whom the whole world to gather them, and of the whole world to gather them to the battle of the great day of the Almighty." Right? These three unclean spirits, right? It says, "And I saw three unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon." Right? The dragon is Esau Edom. Right? Esau Edom is that dragon. And what he has these different spirits on the earth. That's how he rules and controls the people, right? From his financial system, from his religious system he done set up. And also, if you don't follow the religion, if you don't take the money, he's gonna send in with the military. He's gonna take your shit. And we know the whole financial system. That go back to what them people over there in Britain, right? Them elite Rockefellers and Rothschild families in Britain, right? Because Salaki, them elite Rothschild families in Britain, right? The Red Shield family, right? They in Britain. They in what? Also in the land of Israel. They got a street named after them, right? They don't want you to control this whole financial system, right? And they had an agenda. When you go back to the past, how did they set up this financial system, right? How did they set up this financial system? Right? And when you talk about these things, they say you're a conspiracy theorist. Because when you look at all this thing, when it unravels, it sounds like a goddamn conspiracy, right? Let's look at the word conspiracy theory. Right? Conspiracy theory, a belief that some influential or controlling organization or group is secretly responsible for notable event or phenomenon. Right? And something big happens, you'd be like that 911, right? They say it was an inside doer, right? Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Right? You talk about J.F. Kissel getting clapped by his own people. Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, right? You talk about all these different leaders getting hit by their own squad, being hit by the GOV. Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, right? But I'm reading it again. It says a belief that some influential or controlling organization or a group is secretly responsible for a notable event or phenomenon, right? And we know there is a group responsible for these different events and these different things happening because the Bible tells us so. Our Bible tells us so, right? The scriptures just told us about these three unclean spirits, like frogs, jumping out of the mouth of who? That dragon. So who's that dragon? It's a nation of people who got an inside organization about about how to control the people of this society. And one of the things that happened when they set up that banking system was this Titanic thing you hear about. You hear about Titanic in the movies and shit, right? You thinking it's something about some white bitch who done got freaky on a boat and let some peasant tap that ass, and she fell in love before he died. No, this shit go back to what some, how can we say, conspiracy theory type stuff, right? Let's read Ecclesiasticus 14:5. It reads, "He that is evil to himself," right? It says, "He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? He shall not take pleasure in his goods." Right? For these devils to set up their system, right? They had to be evil to themselves. They were fighting amongst each other, and at the end of the top, they were at the top. And right, and certain of them didn't want to change to what their new world system. Some of them wanted to hold on to the past. It says, "Did you know Did you know what? Let's find out. The man who funded the building of the Titanic, J.P. Morgan. Hey, that sounds familiar. J.P. Morgan, that's the bank you once had an account at, right? J.P. Morgan, right? It says, the man who funded the building of the Titanic, J.P. Morgan, canceled his long-awaited journey just hours before its proposed departure. Right? He been plotting on this shit for a long time. He said, no, I ain't going. But what happened? It says 3 of the wealthiest men on earth who were against the creation of what the Federal Reserve Bank happened to be invited aboard for its maiden voyage. And guess what? They did not fucking make it.
On the morning of April 10th, 1912, the docks of Southampton were buzzing with the frenetic energy of a coronation. The RMS Titanic, the largest and most luxurious moving object ever built by human hands, was preparing for her maiden voyage. She was not merely a ship, she was a floating palace, a testament to the industrial might of the Edwardian era, and a symbol of man's conquest over nature. But amidst the thousands of passengers boarding the unsinkable ship, there was one conspicuous absence. J.P. Morgan, the titan of Wall Street, the man who effectively owned the Titanic through his shipping trust, the International Mercantile Marine Company, IMM, was supposed to be on that boat. He had a private suite specially constructed for him on B deck, complete with a private promenade and a bath made of cigar-colored marble. His luggage was already on board. But at the very last moment, Morgan canceled. He claimed he was ill and decided to stay at a resort in Aix-les-Bains, France. Yet, witnesses reported seeing him perfectly healthy, enjoying his mistress and his morning coffee. Days later, Morgan's sudden change of plans might have been a stroke of incredible luck, or it might have been the first move in the coldest corporate liquidation in history. To understand why Morgan's absence is the key to unlocking the secrets of the Federal Reserve, we must look at who did board the ship. The passenger list of the Titanic read like a who's who of the global financial elite, but 3 names stood out above the rest: John Jacob Astor IV, Isidor Straus, and Benjamin Guggenheim. These men were not just wealthy, they were sovereign. John Jacob Astor IV was arguably the richest man in the world, with a fortune that, adjusted for inflation, would dwarf the net worth of modern tech billionaires. Isidor Straus was the owner of Macy's and a titan of retail. Benjamin Guggenheim was the heir to a mining empire. Collectively, they represented a massive concentration of wealth that was independent of the banking cartels. The conspiracy theory, which has persisted for over a century in the hushed, collectively, they represented a massive concentration of wealth that was independent of the banking cartels. The conspiracy theory, which has persisted for over a century in the hushed corners of financial history, posits that these 3 men were the primary obstacles to the creation of the Federal Reserve System. The timeline is undeniably suspicious. In November 1910, the First Name Club met on Jekyll Island to secretly draft the Federal Reserve Act. Their goal was to create a centralized banking cartel that could print money and bail out Wall Street. But a plan of this magnitude required total political consensus among the elite. If a man with the resources of John Jacob Astor decided to oppose the central bank, he had the capital to bribe Congress, fund opposition newspapers, and destroy the public narrative. Astor and his peers were old money. They believed in sound money, gold, and rigid property rights. They were naturally suspicious of the new money schemes of the Rockefellers and Morgans, which relied on Astor and his peers were old money. They believed in sound money, gold, and rigid property rights. They were naturally suspicious of the new money schemes of the Rockefellers and Morgans, which relied on debt, leverage, and fiat currency. While historical records on their specific public opposition they were naturally suspicious of the new money schemes of the Rockefellers and Morgans, which relied on debt, leverage, and fiat currency.
Let's go to the book of Habakkuk 2 verse 5. It says, yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man. Right? He is a proud man. Later on in this video, you're going to see how proud these devils are. They're proud unto what? Fucking their demise and their destruction. Unto death. They're proud, right? It says, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, right? And cannot be satisfied, right? They want more. They want more and more and more. They're willing to kill their own fucking people to get more and more. It says, and cannot be satisfied, but gather unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people, right? Through what? Those 3 unclean spirits going through forth in the earth working miracles, through his financial system, through his banking system, through his military, through his religion. right? And we're focusing right now on that fucking financial system that he done set up. That system of greed. I'm reading it again, Revelation 16 and 13. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophets. Right? What are these spirits for? It says, for they are the spirits of devils. Right? These devils are setting up their new world fucking order, working miracles which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to the battle of the great day of the Almighty, right? Because everybody's going to get tired of what your banking system. Everybody's already tired of your fucking religion. People are fleeing the churches, and people are also abandoning that dollar, right? People are abandoning that dollar, and guess what? The last thing is, we don't want no more American military help. We don't want no more American military help.
Were old money. They believed in sound money, gold, and rigid property rights. They were naturally suspicious of the new money schemes of the Rockefellers and Morgans, which relied on debt, leverage, and fiat currency. While historical records on their specific public opposition are scant and often debated, the strategic logic is sound. To install a monopoly, you must first eliminate the competition. J.P. Morgan, acting as the agent for the banking cartel, had the means, the motive, and the opportunity. The Titanic was his asset. He had absolute control over the White Star Line. He handpicked the officers. He influenced the construction. If one wanted to eliminate 3 of the most powerful men on Earth without raising suspicion, a tragic maritime accident was the perfect cover. It was a clean hit. No bullets, no poisons, just an iceberg in the cold North Atlantic. The deaths would be mourned as a twist of fate, not investigated as a crime. The behavior of the ship's captain, Edward Smith, adds another layer of darkness to the narrative.
Right? And ain't that the spirit of a devil? Right? Ain't that the spirit of Satan? Right? The slander, deceiver? Right? Because what he do? Yeah, he set up these movies so you don't think about J.P. Morgan. You didn't think about them 3 rich motherfuckers who had more wealth than anything. Right? How they had to kill their own people to set up a system that their people didn't want to be down with. Right? A lot of their people don't want to be down with that system. Let's read. It says, Titanic sank on 15th April 1912 in North Atlantic Ocean, the largest ocean linear in the service at that time. Right? So the big ass ocean, this nigga just run into a big ass iceberg. Right? It says Titanic was 4 days into her maiden voyage from Southampton, England to New York City. New York City. Get a rope. United States. When an estimate of 2,224 people on board when she struck an iceberg at 2340 on April 14th. Right? They want you to think it's about, like I said, some freaky white motherfucking crackers on a boat fucking. Right before their demise. But what it's really about, it says lots of famous passengers casually lost or canceled their bookings on the Titanic shortly before it sailed. Yeah, them insiders say, man, don't go on that motherfucking, man, we about to blow that bitch up. We finna destroy that motherfucking boat. Shortly before it sailed, an example of it is J.P. Morgan, who supposedly, right, was going to board the Titanic but didn't. Hey, J.P. Morgan said, I ain't going. Let's go back to this conspiracy theory. It says they believe that some influential or controlling organization or group is secretly responsible for notable events or phenomenon, right? Let's keep reading. It says in 1912, J.P. Morgan was accused of running a money trust, a powerful group of financiers colluding to control American banking and industry. During the Pojo Committee hearings, investigations, monopolistic power, he faced intense scrutiny for his immense influence consolidating industries to create monopolies, and allegations that his firm manipulated the financial system for personal gain, sparking progressive calls for stricter regulations and leading to what the Federal Reserve creations. All right, it was all set up. It says J.P. Morgan did not personally found the Federal Reserve System, but his actions, particularly during the 1907 financial panic, directly spurred its creation. His immense influence and role as private lender of the last resort highlighted the need for central bank leading lawmakers to establish the Federal Reserve to reduce reliance on private banks. Nah, they ain't what they reduced the reliance on. What did they reduce reliance on? Here we go. Let's go to this. It's called tangible good. Tangible wealth refers to physical, non-monetary assets with intrinsic value that can be touched, right? Gold, silver. And we ain't talking about no motherfucking paper somebody printed up. Such as real estate, right? Your house, right? That's why they don't try to give you the ownership to that house. You don't bought that land. You don't bought the property, but that land still belongs to the devil, right? So you don't control your house. They can take your house because you didn't pay for that land, right? It says as real estate, such as real estate, precious metals, gold, silver. Them old school motherfuckers, they was all about that gold and silver, because that's how they made their wealth, right? Through that gold and silver, through what? Tangible wealth, right? These new motherfuckers, they making money off of what? It's Bitcoin. What the fuck is a Bitcoin? Right? Federal Reserve notes, a printed up paper system with nobody control it. They just keep printing it up. Right? It says such as real estate, precious metals, gold, silver, commodities, machinery, and collectibles. Unlike paper assets, your fucking money you got in your pocket. Right? You niggas killing for that paper asset. These holds value during economic uncertainty and acts as an inflation hedge, right? Because when that inflation hits, your money drops. Gold, silver goes up. All these other things are more precious, right? They're called tangible wealth. I'm going to go to this right quick. It says, while the U.S. government itself does not hide its official funds in secret offshore accounts, approximately $4 billion in U.S. wealth is estimated to be held overseas by private individuals, corporations, and tax havens designed for what? Financial secrecy. Like these people, they trying to hide paper money from the devil. They ain't gonna help you. They ain't gonna help you. Why you think the elites they into purchasing land? Yeah, they purchasing land. They purchasing property. Right? You niggas talking about bitcoins and dollars, man. That shit gonna collapse. That shit it's gonna fail in the times we coming to, because they set up a system for it to fail. Right? And who controls the system? Right? We just told you the three unclean spirits, right? British. Right? It says wealthy Americans and major corporations use the following locations to minimize tax liabilities, maintain financial privacy. Right? Because where's the financial kingdom set up at? It says the Cayman Islands. We know that's British. Switzerland, Luxembourg. British. We dealing with these British places, right? Bermuda and the British Virgin, the Netherlands, Ireland, right? All these things go back to that devil. Back to that devil. These three unclean spirits, right? Your finances is controlled by them devils, man. And once they collapse the system, what they gonna introduce? That RFID chip. That RFID chip. I'm going to go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 24:19. It says, fret not thyself because of evil men, neither be thou envious at the wicked, right? The only reason you would be envious at the wicked because you've seen the prosperity of the devil, right? You've seen how much wealth he has accumulated because he has set up a system. This wealth is not real. It's a fiat currency. It's fake. It's false. It's not backed up by anything. It's backed up by what? The Miller motherfucking Terry. You don't fucking do what we tell you. You don't use our money, you don't use our system, we're going to put bullets in you and your motherfucking peoples. And that's how they get down. It says, fret not thyself because of evil men, neither but be thou envious at the wicked, for there shall be no reward to the evil man. The candle of the wicked shall be put out. The candle of the wicked shall be put out. Him and his whole financial system, his military, and his fucking religion.
Raising suspicion, a tragic maritime accident was the perfect cover. It was a clean hit. No bullets, no poisons, just an iceberg in the cold North Atlantic. The deaths would be mourned as a twist of fate, not investigated as a crime. The behavior of the ship's captain, Edward Smith, adds another layer of darkness to the narrative. Captain Smith was the most experienced sailor on the Atlantic. He had navigated these waters for decades. He was a millionaire's captain trusted by the elite. He was also a Morgan man, having served the financier's interests for years. On the night of April 14th, Smith's actions were bafflingly reckless. He drove the ship at full speed, 22 knots, into a known ice field at night with no moon. Warnings from other ships were ignored or not passed to the bridge. The binoculars for the lookouts were missing, locked in a cabinet to which the key had been accidentally left behind. When the collision occurred, Smith's reaction was almost catatonic. It was as if he was playing a role in a script he didn't fully understand, or perhaps one he understood too well. The lack of lifeboats, a regulation that Morgan's Shipping Trust had lobbied to keep lax, ensured that when the ship went down, the survival rate for men in first class would be statistically low. When the Titanic slipped beneath the waves at 2:20 a.m. on April 15, 1912, it took Astor, Strauss, and Guggenheim with it. Astor was last seen smoking a cigarette on the deck, calmly accepting his fate as the water rose. Strauss refused to get into a lifeboat while women and children were still on board, choosing to die with his wife. Guggenheim dressed in his finest evening wear, declaring, "We are prepared to go down like gentlemen." Their deaths were heroic, but politically they were convenient. In one night, the combined wealth and influence of the opposition was liquidated. The old guard was decapitated. The reaction of the markets and the media in the aftermath was deaths were heroic, but politically they were convenient. In one night, the combined wealth and influence of the opposition was liquidated. The old guard was decapitated. The reaction of the markets and the media in the aftermath was telling. The tragedy consumed the public consciousness for months, dominating the headlines. It was the perfect distraction. While the world wept for the Titanic, the bankers went to work. The money trust investigation, the Pujo Committee, was raging in Washington, but the opposition was now leaderless. There was no longer a John Jacob Astor to fund a counter-movement. The path was clear. In December 1913, just 1 year and 8 months after the sinking, the Federal Reserve Act was passed by Congress and signed by Woodrow Wilson. The timing is almost too precise to be coincidental. 1910, the plan is hatched, Jekyll Island. 1912, the opposition is removed, Titanic. 1913, the plan is executed, Federal Reserve Act. Critics of this theory argue that it is absurd to sink a massive ocean liner just to kill 3 men. They point to the financial loss of the ship itself. But to men like Morgan and Rockefeller, the Titanic was a rounding error. The cost of the ship was $7.5 million. The value of the Federal Reserve System, the ability to print the currency of the United States forever, was incalculable.